The Fern Prairie stretches for miles in every direction, and moving through it is a herd unlike anything this story has shown before. At the front walks a Diplodocus matriarch, 25 meters of muscle and bone from snout to tail tip, her pace unhurried because nothing in this landscape can force her to hurry. Behind her, dozens of others follow in loose formation, adults at the edges, juveniles kept carefully toward the center where the largest bodies in the herd stand between them and the tree line. This is the Late Jurassic Morrison ecosystem, a warm, well-watered world of conifer groves and open fern prairie. And these are the first true giants this story has met. Where an Aoraptor once measured survival in inches and reflexes, survival here is measured in tonnage and numbers. A single Diplodocus is nearly impossible for any predator to bring down. A herd of them moving together is close to untouchable, and every animal in this line seems to know it. They are simply walking, following a route the matriarch has likely taken before, toward a stand of conifers where the browsing has been undisturbed for weeks. It's slow, deliberate, unspectacular work, and it is also, for a young Diplodocus drifting slightly wide of the herd's edge, the exact moment 3 Allosaurus decide to start paying attention. They don't attack. Not yet. Allosaurus is a formidable predator, but its bite is surprisingly weak for an animal its size, built more for slashing and holding than for crushing bone in a single strike. Which means against something the size of an adult Diplodocus, a lone Allosaurus has almost no good options. 3 of them together, watching a juvenile drift half a body length from the safety of the herd, is a different calculation entirely. The matriarch notices before the juvenile does. She doesn't panic, and she doesn't run. She shifts her own bulk sideways, angling her tail toward the gap at the herd's edge, and lets out a low, resonating call that ripples down the length of the group. Adults nearest the juvenile close the distance, tightening the formation exactly where it had loosened. The 3 Allosaurus hold their position at the tree line, patient, waiting for the gap to reopen. It's the Stegosaurus that reopens it, from the other direction entirely. A small group of Stegosaurus emerges from the same belt of conifers the Diplodocus herd is walking toward, tails raised, plated backs catching the afternoon light. To the watching Allosaurus, this is an entirely different kind of opportunity. Slower prey, more predictable, armed with spikes that are dangerous only if you're careless. One of the 3 breaks away from the Diplodocus herd to test the Stegosaurus group instead, circling wide, looking for an angle on the animal at the rear. The mistake becomes obvious almost immediately. The targeted Stegosaurus doesn't run, it turns, presenting its tail, and the Allosaurus, overconfident after weeks of easier meals, commits to a strike a fraction too early. The Thagomizer swings in a short, brutal arc and connects, driving one of its spikes deep into the predator's flank before it can pull back. The Allosaurus shrieks and retreats in a stumbling, uneven gait, the injury already slowing it far more than the pain alone would explain. For the Diplodocus herd, this is the opening the matriarch has been managing toward. With one predator wounded and retreating and the other 2 momentarily distracted by the commotion, she pushes the pace, funneling the herd forward at a speed that closes the gap between the juveniles and the safety of numbers even further. It isn't enough to end the standoff completely. The 2 remaining Allosaurus regroup fast, and one makes a final desperate lunge at the same juvenile from earlier. 2 adult Diplodocus on the juvenile's flank react in the same instant, one swinging its tail in a wide, low arc that forces the Allosaurus to break stride and dodge, the other simply turning its full bulk into the gap like a wall of muscle and bone. It backs off, and this time it doesn't come back. The herd doesn't celebrate. It doesn't even slow down. The matriarch simply continues toward the tree line at the same unhurried pace she set at dawn, juveniles tucked safely back into the herd's protective center, as though the entire encounter barely registered as a threat at all. In a world of giants, that may be the whole point. Safety here was never about speed or teeth. It was about never standing alone. Not every giant in this ecosystem will have a herd to hide inside. Somewhere beyond this fern prairie, a solitary predator carries scars from battles like the one that just played out. And an injury far worse than anything a Thagomizer can inflict is about to force him to fight for a territory he can no longer easily defend. Next time on Dino Lore, we meet him. A quick like or subscribe costs nothing, and it's genuinely what keeps this channel able to make more of these.